How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massa Beer Reviews. Back with yet another review. Something I'm very intrigued by. That is Unholy Ritual from Czigmeister Brewing. This is a Belgian-style quadruple coming in at a paltry 9.4%. And, I'm joking. And, that'd be that. This was canned November 22nd, 2019. So it has about 5 months on it. For a Belgian quad, that's probably more of a good thing than a bad thing. And that'd be all the information I have on it. Yeah. Let's crack in a second. I'm very, very picky about my Belgian beers. I like them to skew a specific way. A lot of times Belgian candied sugar comes off a little bit more brown sugar than that kind of beet sugar. Doesn't have that kind of texture to it. And, so American brewers can be a little bit hit or miss for me when it comes to Belgian, so I'm excited. I've had Belgian-based beers from Czigmeister before. I know I've had this before. I've been to the tap room, but I've never kind of sat and just drank this beer. So I'm interested to see how this one comes off. Oh, man, that's looking the part, man. I like my Belgian quads to skew a little bit dark, and I like them to have this kind of nice, soft murkiness to it. Definitely hitting both ends here. It comes off like that kind of washed-out brown with a little bit, or a decent amount of mahogany to it, almost getting into kind of Doppelbock range. But she really does look the part of what I dig when it comes to Belgian quads, with this a nice, subtle haziness, murkiness to it. Not that ultra clearness. Like I was saying previous to what I just said, I've had some of their beers before. I probably had this one in the tap room. I reviewed a double barrel aged version of it. I think it was a Belgian quad, Belgian dark blend. It might have been as their dark sovereign. So yeah, I'm excited. Label wise, not the biggest fan of Czigmeister labels, but yeah, if the beer is good, that's all that matters. So yeah, rich mahogany in color, that washed out brown. Definitely not a see-through beer. You can get a little bit of light through it, nothing too crazy. Let's get a nose. Oh, man, that's, like, crazy. Like, it's not plum, but it's not prune. It's, like, somewhere in between. Like, semi-dry plum. There's, like, this fruity thing even beyond that plumminess that comes off. Almost like a fruity, like a flower, like a cherry flower or something like that. Very floral characteristic. There's a little bit of like a evaporative alcohol acetone thing going on. It's not that huge. I'm very sensitive to that, so it's probably more me than anything else. It smells nice. It smells like a rich Belgian base. That Belgian candied sugar does come off kind of more traditional, more like a kind of beet sugar than a brown sugar. But it lacks like a bready component. I like my quads to have a soft breadiness to it. That's the only thing it's really missing, at least on the nose, but it smells pretty good. It smells not too shabby, let's put it that way. Let's dive right in. Cheers. That's nice. It's unique. Yeah, I mean, definitely malt forward. You get that big fruit component. The amount of fruit in here, it's almost like plum wine. Plum wine must. That's the way it's coming off. It's got this kind of slightly alcoholic kind of component to the way the plumminess comes off. So I'm thinking like if you were to make like plum wine instead of having grape must, you have like plum must. It's kind of coming off that way for me. You do that, I do at least, get that little bit of kind of acetone, kind of little alcohol evaporative thing going on. Nothing too big, so it's not like crushing the beer or anything like that. The Belgian candy sugar comes off authentic for me. It doesn't come off as just a regular, just kind of brown sugar kind of thing. It's just missing a little bit of softness in the mouthfeel, which is not that far off, but it's that bready component, that creaminess, that breadiness, that yeastiness that comes off of almost all Belgian quads and doubles and most darks. That really is kind of like a hang your hat on kind of characteristic when it comes to a Belgian beer or a Belgian style beer. It's tasty though. Let's put it this way. There have been, how do I want to word this? This isn't hitting the mark exactly for me as a home run level Belgian quad for me, but it tastes authentically like Belgian driven. And that's my biggest sticking point with a lot of American breweries. As I've said several times throughout this review, a lot of them just get it wrong. Just comes off as someone's weird Americanized version of an attempt of a quad. This tastes like a quad, just a different version of a quad, of a more traditional quad, if that comes off as any makes any sense. I like it. I think it would age into something fantastic. It's almost like between a quad and a dark. That's kind of like the best way I can explain it. And the way that fruitiness comes off, it comes off like a fruit, like I said, a tweener between like a plum and a prune. But there's something else, like almost like a black licorice, like anise component to it or something like that, which is not a negative when it comes to a lot of Belgian darks or Belgian quads. I dig that flavor characteristic in it, but it lacks that bready component that really kind of ties it together and brings it all home. So that's probably my biggest nitpick about it. It's honestly something that I wish was a couple years older. I am huge in aging beer. I'm huge in aging Belgians, especially, doubles, quads, darks. And I think this would age really, really nice. Now, it's in a can. Longevity-wise, I don't know the ins and outs of long haul aging cans, but you're talking about a core 4 beer built in a style that was built to be aged. I really want to get some of these. I actually got to get some of these and let them just sit in a corner somewhere and not mess with them for a couple of years, because this is absolutely tasty stuff. Just not spot on BJCP nerdy kind of Belgian quaddy, but I'm not one of those people that kind of hangs their head on that stuff, so there you go. Is it one of the better Belgian quads that I've had? One of the better American-born Belgian quads that I've had as of late? Yes. It's not, it's not tippy top. It's not Mount Rushmore status, but it's quite tasty. Like I said, aged versions of this, I would imagine, would be fantastic. And that Dark Sovereign I had, which is, I assume this is part of the base of that, was absolutely fantastic. Value availability, I actually don't know. They threw these in a couple extras when I got a beer delivery from them during the whole self-quarantine COVID thing. But I'm guessing you're probably going to get these in and around maybe $16, $17 a 4-pack. That would be my guess. I could be totally wrong, but they can't be had too, because as Czigmeister, they do a decent amount of distribution throughout the state of New Jersey, and leave you with, if you like what we like this. If you like Belgian beers and you like to dip your toe into what the American brewers are doing when it comes to Belgian beers, this is definitely worth picking up. Again, like I said, is it Boulevard level, Schlafly level, Crux, or what's that big one? What's the Block 3 Brewing? Oh, they make good ones. Even Kane, which is funny to say, because Matt from Czigmeister was head brewer at Kane for quite some time, and they make some of my favorite Belgian-based beers out of the United States. It's eking towards those. It's just that kind of next level down. But if you dig on those kind of beers, Belgian beers, yeast-driven malty beers, it's worth picking up because it's a fun beer. I'm sure it'll vary from batch to batch, but even if you can find a little bit of an aged version of this, I think you'd be in for a treat. There you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive. Want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. And hopefully you guys enjoyed our review. Hopefully enjoying a little quad right now. And hope to see you next time. Cheers.